I really love that you are raising up the issue of equity and social justice as well. And there are certain populations like our LGBT community that experiences homelessness at a disproportionate rate. Um, in my time in Palm Beach County, for almost a decade, I ran programs, and the saddest group for me were those 16 to 18-year-olds or 15 to 18-year-olds who either decided to leave home or were kicked out of homes, and they would come to us seeking services, and there were no services. In Palm Beach County at the time, there was no safe place to send that person. So I would personally put that individual in my car and drive down to Broward, to a program in Broward that was able to sometimes take those individuals in. And I'm actually not even sure here in Palm Beach County, I don't know, do either of you know sort of the availability of services for that really vulnerable population?
Yeah, so it's funny that you share that, Daniel, because literally just a couple of years ago, back in 2013, when Miami Homes for All first shared, hey, youth homelessness is going to be an issue, many in the community were like, youth homelessness is not a thing. This is not something we should be prioritizing, right? And this was 2013. So it wasn't, that recent, but it wasn't that long ago, right? So, and it wasn't until relatively recently through, collective impact, right? Braylon, it works. So with this collective impact model, we brought communities together to say we need to address it. And thankfully, over time, starting in 2015, many of our shelter programs started creating more youth-friendly spaces. So, for example, Lotus House now has an entire floor dedicated for young people, right? When before that wasn't the case. Now, I want to say late 2018, early 2019, young people no longer have to call the homeless helpline, right? I know many of us here have tried calling the homeless helpline before. I know there's some barriers in accessing it sometimes, right? Many young people, they don't know that they're kicked out of home until like 4 o'clock after school, right? And sometimes the homeless helpline, unfortunately, sometimes it may not be open 24/7, right? So many youth instead, decided, I'm just not going to call. So we missed a lot of young people, and thankfully we partnered up with youth access points. So Educate Tomorrow, Prideline, Lotus, Miami Bridge, these other agencies that are able to be open and available for youth to call. So that way young people don't have to call the homeless helpline, they can call them directly, and they'll be able to get into a bed within 24 hours, right? So that's the availability at this time. Of course, we can do better. At the end of the day, we definitely need more housing, and more. But by housing, I mean more housing options, right? I want us to think about, units that are truly affordable for students, right? I think typically, I have a second screen. I promise I'm not ignoring anyone. So typically, let's say, if you're a waiter or you're working in retail, your rent should be at most $599 a month. Can anyone find rent for $599 a month?
Right.
And that's full time.
And just I know the mathematics you're doing that, but just can you explain how you got to that number?
So $599, that's 30% of their paycheck. Mm-hmm. So that's how much a young person or anyone should be spending. If they're a medical assistant, they went to school, all that, or a truck driver, or maybe Uber driver, at most, they should be spending $849 a month for their rent.
So there's financial stability research that shows that if you're spending more than 30% of your income, you are more than likely you are housing poor, housing insecure, and Correct. You run the risk of becoming homeless.
Exactly. And I think, there has to be more affordable housing options within our community, and that is safe, right? And secondly, we need more policies from our community that, actually tells people, hey, this is where you need to go. So for example, if someone's being evicted, they have that eviction summons packet. Can we include a one-pager that includes all the different resources that are available to that family? This is where you can go, right? These are some of the little things that we can do. Of course, a big picture, we just need systems of power to be accountable and to really understand that the community has specific needs and they need to change systems. I think Raylan said earlier, we need to focus on system change. How do we get to that? There's these little steps that we can do, but big picture, like overall, we need partners to come to the table and say, we need more housing, we need more funding into our communities. So, agencies that are working directly with youth, let's make sure we're consistently motivating youth, providing them with different employment opportunities. And I'm going to stop talking because I know I talk a lot. So,
I was just going to jump in and
but yeah.
say, no, I love it. I
Yeah,
love the
yeah.
passion